Hey Ken, welcome back to Kinfolk Unscripted.
I'm Chanel.
And I'm Martissa.
This is a podcast amplifying Black and queer presence in wellness, family building, and intentional living. Unfiltered conversations, honest experiences, and the joy of figuring it out together.
Woody woots.
That's what
okay,
like.
The video. The video we're going to play today is a little bit hard because our good sis on the video is laughing her ass off. So I'm going to do a little bit of narration. Essentially, the caption is POV. You go to the hospital for food poisoning and the doctor says we need to switch rooms. Essentially, because this person has a cryptic pregnancy and with twins.
You got twins. Hold on. But look at the comment. Cryptic pregnancy is one thing, but twins, girl, you guys have noticed something, bro. I never heard of twin cryptic pregnancy. No one, but two strangers.
Two strangers is hilarious. I ain't leaving with nobody. I ain't come in with it's taking me down. Essentially, the video goes on and on. Her reading the comments of, everybody being flabbergasted at this idea of a twins cryptic pregnancy. Now, first off, I am recently years old when I realized that cryptic pregnancy was a thing at all. And I actually heard somebody recently, somebody that my spouse works with, had a cryptic pregnancy. I'm just yes. I'm like, what? One stranger is enough. The two.
I know, and then it's like, well, where's her family and stuff? Like, I want to know more about this. Who's the daddy? Does she know who the daddy is? You know what I mean?
Right.
Did it say on there?
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Oh, okay. Because I want to know the whole story. Now, like, does she have support? Does she have the strangers? Is she living with them? Like, is she supporting said strangers? Like, I would like to know more about what's going on. Is her mental health okay? Because
I can't imagine.
I mean, there's a lot of things that could be cryptic in life, but pregnancy shouldn't be one of them.
Honestly, as a Capricorn, very little should be cryptic in life. Very fucking little.
Agreed.
Especially some goddamn pregnancy.
I know.
Going to the hospital for food poisoning and coming out realizing that you are actually in the process of giving birth is insane.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Insane. Because you know what? I wouldn't want twins if I was planning a birth.
Okay, come on.
Let alone going in for food poisoning. So, I mean, I don't know. But hey, I don't know. She could have a completely different outlook about this.
God bless him. God bless him is all I got to say.
I truly hope for the best.
Jesus be offense, because I don't even know what the protocol is for some shit like
Jesus
that.
Be offense to some goddamn birth control, because I don't understand.
Oh, shit. Well, anyway, what's up with you? Hopefully not a cryptic pregnancy.
No, hopefully not. Actually, I'm prepared this time. Actually, I have a lot of things to say, but I'm just gonna mention two. One of them is this. For those that are watching, do you see my hair? Okay, because it's taken a long time to get here. I want to say, okay, I've had sister loss for 2.5 years. It's taken 2.5 years to look like these full, thickened, locks that you see that are hanging on my neck. Thank you.
Now let's showing for the camera.
Yes. So I'm very happy about this. I'm going to tell you something. At the beginning of the year, I wasn't looking like this, and I was very much considering taking them out. I was watching videos about how people are taking them out, how long it's taking. Thorough research about taking these motherfuckers out, but my cousin and my husband talked me off the ledge. So here I am. And yeah, we're going to rock with this for a minute, but it's taken a long time. I mean, when you first get them, they're really skinny. I'm used to having thick hair, and I'm used to having long hair. So yeah, then they shrunk, then they fattened, then they fuzzied, and then fattened again. And it seemed like they weren't growing for literally a year. So, and I can take a process, but that was really long, you know? And it's not over. Like you can still see the ends are like, you know, like they gotta close all the way kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy. So anyway, I'm happy to be on the next, you know, now I can start feeling like, you know, the bad bee that I am.
I know
And
that's right. You look good, girl. You look good.
oh, thank you. Yeah. And then the other thing is, you know, I've been growing sunflowers. They're my favorite flowers, you know, and I grew, I mean, a few of them, I'm kind of just like succession planting them, but I grew a Titan and a Mammoth next to each other. They're really big ones. They grow like 10 to 12 feet. The head could be, I think, anywhere from 10 to 14 inches on those ones. They did not grow that big. I don't think they had the most ideal conditions, but one of them grew like 6 feet, the other one like 8 feet. And then, anyway, the point is, I grew them and they're facing the fucking wall. So every day I wake up and I see, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, the flower budded, like it bloomed. And I can only see the back of the flower, and that really sucks. So it's like every day
that's showing its ass to you. It's crazy.
It is. It's quite disrespectful. But you know, I guess that is a full-on lesson in learning the sun as a gardener, because they're always telling you learn the sun in your yard, and I'm like, I thought I knew it enough, and clearly I didn't. But I know for goddamn sure if that sun rises, you know what I mean. My yard is facing northeast, and the sunflowers want to be east. So yeah, I'm learning that they wake up with the sun instead of facing where it is most of the day. So next time, I don't know what I'm gonna do, to be honest, but I'm going to put a picture here for those that are watching, so y'all can see how badly my sunflowers have been mooning me. So yeah,
that's just so fucking disrespectful.
Yeah, I was really shook. Like when the first one opened, and I was like, and I thought, and then Manny's like, it's gonna turn, and I was like, I actually really don't think so.
Libra being the ultimate optimist at all times.
Yeah, he is. He really is. I'm like, that's not how it's gonna work, but it's okay. It's still really nice to see. They have a lot of leaves and super bright, and I know that I'm gonna be able to harvest seeds from them. So yeah, it's cool.
I have to tell this story, and I hope my sister-in-law doesn't hate that I tell this story on air. But I learned about my sister-in-law that she hates sunflowers. And the reason she hates sunflowers is because they give her the vibe that they would pickpocket you.
I'm wondering what she means by that. Is it because they can like lean over?
I guess. I don't know. It's something about sunflowers to her that it looks like they're gonna pickpocket you. Is the vibe.
I do want to know more about this. I really do. Because it's like, if it's a single stem and they do the little thingy, which they do. One of them is literally like this right now. Like, I could absolutely see that. But they're nice. They're really nice. Super bright, warm and kind, you know.
It's like sunflowers are the most happy thing. I mean, they are like those big ass ones. They are kind of, you know, if you have that thing where you don't like a whole bunch of holes or like bubble pattern, like I could see sunflowers really throwing you off because the center of them. But they're so happy. The idea that they're actually these thieves is actually every time.
I know, it's so funny. And yeah, my mom really does hate them because of the holes. I'm just like, don't stare too hard. You know what I mean? Like, just a nice quick look and keep going. You know, if it bothers you, it'll be okay. So I'm like, there's so many different types. Don't listen. Yeah, you'll be sick of my yard, okay? You'll be sick of my yard by the end of the summer. It's gonna be ridiculous with sunflowers.
You could have a whole just like full yard of sunflower patches.
I surely would if I had the time to water as much. So I'm realizing I gotta stick them all in the same place because I'm not gonna be out there like this. But yeah, so what's up with you?
Oh, what is up with me? Well, the biggest thing is we told our moms, this past week was Mother's Day, and we told our moms about us trying for a baby. And yes, very exciting. My mother-in-law literally screamed in the back of the car, just kept screaming.
Wait, you told them in the car?
Well, so how we did it was like, because there was so much anxiety around this, right? Like, mostly
Really?
because from the standpoint of like me losing my job and it changing the timeline,
Yeah.
like it was kind of like, damn, for us, we were holding a lot of grief because it was like we're living in this unexpected moment. Like the plan was to tell them like, hey, we started in September. Like, that was kind of the plan. But now we're like, well, we don't know when we're actually going to hit start, because of this, like needing some financial stability piece. So anyway, I think for us, we were sitting in a lot of grief around it. And it was caught, and because we couldn't do it with the kind of energy that we wanted to, we were just like, there's a lot of anxiety. And then I was like, the talk is motherfucking ticking because this podcast is coming out, my brand was coming out, and I was like, we can push that, but I don't want to. Like, we've been working really hard on this. So anyway, all of this backstory. So what we ended up doing was like, instead of doing it at dinner like we planned, we decided that we would just tell them when they got in. So we just kind of rip the Band-Aid off and keep it going. We told my mom and Auntie and Harold and Gary first. Harold is my dad for listeners. Gary is like my uncle. And my auntie is like a second mom. And so we told all of them first. My mom was so excited. Like, she stayed with I would cry if I could produce tears.
God, typical Virgo.
So she's like, but I really did think she was gonna cry. Like, her face gave, I'm gonna cry. It was so sweet. She was so excited. And then later, with my mom in love, we went to pick her up from the train station, and we were like, we want to tell her individually, just so that, like, everyone can have their own moment, kind of thing.
Right.
And so we told her in the car, and she was literally screaming. Like, she was quite literally screaming. So yeah, it was really, really sweet. And yeah, it was just like nice. I feel like it grounded both of us. Like, Mars looked at me after and was just like, that was a good idea. Like, it was good. Mars has a propensity to be like, we need to wait to the perfect time, like keep things, they're really good at keeping things private and having privacy. And they're very quickly learning that, one, I don't have that skill, and two, my my family doesn't work like that. Like,
we
mom,
literally
go ahead.
We were just talking about this right before we started recording. That, like, yeah, it's a secret if you didn't tell immediately. It's why you keep your secrets. Or what? And your mom said, what did she say?
She was like, I don't understand why it had to be such a damn secret. Like, that was her, because we were like telling her how we've been on this process for the last 6 months at this point. Like, we've been working on this. And she was like, well, what? Like, I just don't understand. Like, why wouldn't y'all should have said something immediately, She don't, it don't compute for her, But yeah, it was like so grounding to just like tell them our family is so important to us. And obviously, like, we had let like, you knew, and like some friends knew, but outside of that, it was kind of like we're just holding this close to our chest as we move through it. And it was nice. It's just nice for it to not be so cryptic.
Yeah. Yeah, to bring it back, right? Yeah. No, I definitely understand that. And it's like a breath of fresh air,
It is.
Everybody got you. So yeah,
exactly.
And everybody's excited. And yeah, no matter when it starts, it's very exciting, and I can't wait.
I know. So that's a perfect segue into today's conversation. So today we're going to be talking about preconception, but this is going to be the first part of our conversation, and then we'll do a part 2. This part is really going to just be talking about like the spiritual parts, the mental parts, the kind of relational pieces of preconception. When I first started thinking about this was kind of the not in the forefront. What's the, like, an afterthought? What's the opposite of forefront? In the back.
No, I think afterthought was cool, but
Okay. Either way, y'all got that was not the priority. It was just not the priority. It wasn't the thing that I was just like mostly thinking about, because in a lot of ways it's not the thing that you can immediately be like, I'm gonna take a supplement, I'm gonna change my diet, I'm gonna get this workout plan, and boom, like I'm a very practical person, and so like the body pieces were so upfront and still are. But over time, being in 6 months into this preconception journey, I'm like, listen here, it's the spiritual, mental, and relational pieces that I'm like feel super super critical. So I wanted to start the conversation there, and then we will talk about the body at a different time.
that makes sense. And I have a question before we
Yes.
get started. Yeah. What is your child going to call me? That's what I'm wondering because like I mean Oakley just calls you cousin Al, which I still think is funny that she puts cousin on it, but like everyone has a title currently, so that's why, But I don't know. Like, is this we just doing cousin stuff with the kids, which I'm fine with. I don't feel like it needs to be, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I actually don't know. I've never thought about it. I mean, I've thought about, how Oakley calls me cousin Al, but I haven't really thought about what my kid will call you. I feel like my
Because
propensity.
they got to be the same. They got to be
I
even.
know.
So
I
think about it.
know. I know. I probably should think about that. For me, I think you and I have different orientations to the naming thing. You're very literal. You're like, that's your motherfucking cousin, so that's what you're gonna call her.
Yeah.
And I'm not. So I feel like my first thing would be to call you Auntie, because that is kind of your role and will be your role in this child's life. And I don't have. I gotta wind that back. I was raised an only child. I have sisters. I have a lot of siblings, a bunch of siblings at this point after I got married. But like I was raised an only child, so there is this way, and then I'm like, especially now that Yada is gone, like Yada is my cousin who was like my eldest sister. For listeners who passed away a few years ago. But I'm like, you are like a sister, like that is our relationship in a lot of ways. So that's my thoughts right now.
Okay.
Those things
I
could
won't let
change.
it take too much time, but I'm just wondering. And I want to say that I understand, our differences in the naming and everything, but I don't think that just because you get called cousin or I get called cousin means that the relationship is not still going to be very much I'm right here, right next to your mom. Most
Right.
times, we're making these decisions kind of together type stuff,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, sorry. I heard a child. But anyway, go ahead and continue.
No, yeah, no. No, but that's something we should definitely we got some time, but
Yes.
we'll keep talking about. I mean, and also too, I'm like, I don't really truly understand the role of godmom. Like, like I have a godmom who I'm just not that particularly close to. I feel like if we had stayed in LA, we would have been closer, but because we lived across the country, just not super super close. And I need some new branding on the godmom of it all.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah. That is something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
Or just kind of making it like what, like your own kind of thing. Cause yeah, I had a godmom and she moved to Ohio when we were little, and her and my godfather separated. So like he's still my godfather. We're very close, me and my godfather, but we weren't close anymore because she moved. But I think she also didn't really have contact with my parents anymore that much. So it was just kind of like one of those things where it's like they were college friends and then they weren't super close anymore. But then she also passed. So like, so yeah, I definitely think the branding does need some work in general. Or just I don't know, just stating fully like what does that mean when you ask somebody, you know what I mean? So because for me I think it's a heavy weight. I haven't asked anybody necessarily. And I also think, I don't know, putting that just on one person's shoulders seems like a lot. Like if you're saying like you're gonna take over my kid if I go, if I pass.
Right.
So that's kind of my thought process. But
yeah, absolutely. I don't know. We gonna circle back on that one.
Yeah. Still kind of about that whole thing, So.
Right. Okay, so quickly, preconception, for those who are like, what the fuck does that even mean? Preconception is the time period once you're like, I'm gonna have this kid and I have a rough estimate timeline about when that's gonna happen. That is essentially your preconception phase. Also, if you follow me on YouTube, I call it trimester zero. That is not language that I came up with. That is something that I've heard and that I think makes a lot of sense because it quite literally is that. It's like specifically the 6 months prior to getting pregnant. Now, for the purposes of our conversation, because I don't got no timeline, because a nigga needs to find a new job. So timeline is a little iffy. But like for me, it is the moment that I'm in, being like, we are very intentional that this is going to be happening as soon as we can make it happen. And so I need to be preparing my body, which we'll talk about later. And I also need to be preparing my heart, my mind, my home, my relationships for that as well. And so that is what preconception is. One other piece of context I want to offer is, and if you're watching this, I'm about to be reading my notes because I don't want to fuck this up. But as a queer person, preconception looks a little bit different. And there's like 100,000 ways to make a family, to create a family. For our cases, in the conversation that we'll be having, I'm going to be talking about my experience, which is as a cis woman in a relationship with another AFAB, so assigned female at birth person. So in order to grow our family how we want to, which is to have some type of biological connection to our kid, we need sperm to do that. So opposed to like adopting or something like that. Other queer people will need other kind of gametes, surrogates, adoption support to grow their family, but I'm specifically talking about my experience as a cis woman who will be carrying and having a spouse who is also assigned female at birth. So now that is out the way,
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Chanel, what made you want to become a mom?
I think it was evolution, to be honest. And I just feel like it was biology. I really felt, this urge to like get pregnant. And then I felt like we were in a space where I was super like, and so I'm trying to answer this because there was 2 different times where I felt like I was ready. And that first time, I realized I wasn't. And then the second time, I also thought I wasn't, but we'll get more into that. But that second time is really what I'm talking about, because I feel like I was more ready at that point. But like, we had our house and, it took a lot to get there. A lot of saving, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of, just different things. And I think it was finally like just, right? My body, my mind feels just calm, right? I walk in this motherfucker every day feeling like it's a sanctuary, like literally feels like a sacred space, that we worked hard to build. And then it felt like the right time to like bring someone else into that. It felt like we had space literally for that. But also like in our lives, because we weren't going to be moving around a lot because, we had just bought the house. And so that's, kind of that kind of thing. And, also Manny very much wanted a kid. And so like, there was that conversation. I'm like, hey, like when you want to, and I'm like, damn, nigga, so yeah, there was, but yeah, so it wasn't just me, so I definitely think it was the biological factor, and then just really feeling like I'm at a calm, chill place, and it would be nice to bring somebody in, to that space. But I think I always wanted to be a mom, and I don't really know why. I just did. Yeah.
Mm.
I love women. I say that because I always knew I was going to have a daughter. Like there was no, I know like you can't choose whatever, but I always knew that before I got pregnant, when I was pregnant, before I found out. So knowing that I was going to bring another woman into this world was like, needs to be done. Absolutely. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
What about you?
I feel like there's so many things, right? Like, I think biology for sure, because I can also. Where are the studies on that like mid-20s intensity of like I need to have a baby like right now, like actually today, tomorrow, like immediately put a baby
We're
in
gonna
me?
find some studies and we'll put them in here.
Yeah,
No, for real, we'll link them. I'm sure that they have them. So yeah,
there
because I would
has to
very much
be.
like to. Yeah.
Has to be. I think that like yeah, so I definitely had that, but I wasn't in a place. I wasn't in the relationship I was supposed to be in. I wasn't financially where I needed to be. I didn't have a home. Like it was just so many things. I wasn't there. But that I would say in my mid 20s is when I was like really heavily thinking about how badly I knew that this was important to my
Hmm.
experience on this planet and like what that would mean, like what that responsibility would look like. Um, and that's when I started all my research on like how I'd want to birth and all of that stuff. Um, and started thinking about education and things, just all of that. And I think that like I too have always known I wanted to be a parent. Um, and over time, I think that the why behind it continues to evolve.
Hmm.
And one piece that I think that I have really been thinking about is, and this might be really controversial to say, but it's not just about me. And honestly, it's not even just about this kid, right? I feel like there's three different pieces. I think there's a me piece, there is a being able to like raise an adult feels exciting to me. And then
Hmm.
there's also this piece that I've been thinking about a lot lately is I'm like, I can't wait to make my parents, well, my mom specifically, a grandmother,
Hmm.
and my aunt a grandmother of sorts. And like I
Hmm.
can't wait for the people in my life to watch the people in my life become different versions of themselves in relationship to this new child, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm excited for the ways that our relationship, you and I's relationship, will change in you becoming an aunt to this child, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm excited to make my spouse a parent, right? Like I
Hmm.
think that they're going to be like an insanely incredible parent.
Hmm.
And yeah, like I mean, I think there's all these different ways, like that. Even though it's like my mother-in-law has 7 grandkids, like I'm excited for her to have a grandkid outside, in a different
Hmm.
context. Like
Yeah.
I think that there's all of these ways that I'm like I don't see, for me, having a baby is not just about my own need or evolution. I feel like there is a piece. I'm like, I can't wait to see who I am. Like, I will become more myself as a mother,
Hmm.
right? And that's part of it. There's a selfish piece of it. There's a piece where I'm like, the world deserves this sounds haughty as hell. But the world deserves a human raised by me and my spouse. Like the
Oh,
world
okay. Yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah. I was
you
wondering
know,
like what what does the world deserve? Yeah, no, that's
the
yeah.
world like it is like I've heard indigenous people talk about children as seeds. So it's
Hmm.
like to be able to cultivate that seed into the world feels really critical from a political standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a black and a queer standpoint, like all of it.
Yes.
Um, but also there's this piece where I'm just like, I'm excited and want to add to my family structure, my larger family structure.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. And I don't think that that was controversial. I've heard people say that. Um, you know, and yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, that's that's not how I feel, but you know, I definitely have heard people say that, and I think that's a really normal feeling that people have, you know, to want to
Yeah.
become parents. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like kids are this, like, again, from my perspective, because we are interdependent beings. And not only does our survival rely on that, but also our, like, on a spiritual level. I think that there's like a spiritual way that, like, it also survives on that, right? Like, none of us can become in isolation. And I guess I just keep thinking about the ways that, like, as new people come onto the planet or come into your family structure, it reorients you. Like, I had to be reoriented when Oakley came onto the planet, right? Like, I think about that. I mean, I even think about how I had to be reoriented when Ruth, my one of my childhood best friends' daughters, came onto the planet, because she was the first. Oakley came pretty quick after, but she was
Yeah, your friend group. Yeah.
yeah, the people in my world, like in my friend group, and that were close to me. Obviously, Camille had Kinsley first, but Camille and I are not as close as you and I are. And I think that that was like a reorientation that I had to have, like, because I think that it, like, as a, it kind of pushes you up, you know, like, when we were the kids, right? And then now we're having the kids, and it's like, oh damn, so now that changes your status in the.
Allegedly, let me tell you something, because my mother the other day, we went to her house for lunch, and she's like, oh, when I'm off, she's planning to take a long break from work. She's like, when I'm off, maybe I can cook once a week for lunch. You guys can come over. And I was like, once a week? What the hell are you talking about? Can we at least do twice? Like, I'm confused personally about why you can't be making lunch for us more regularly. So yeah, we are allegedly the new adults, but I want to say something. I would very much like to be still treated like a child, please, because if there's, or if I could just think of one less meal, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I just want to say that. But everything else, you know, proceed.
I feel like there's like
Yeah.
levels where it's like that will also always be the case, and also at some
No, I
point
know
I
what you
think that,
mean.
like, how grief has also changed my experience of life is that I'm, like, so fucking aware of the fact that, like, the people that raised me are not going to be here forever. Which means that I'm gonna have to grow up in the ways that, like, I depend on their being here, right? And, like, having a kid is like, oh shit, the way that I'm like, something that went wrong, I'm gonna call my mama. She's the first one. Call my mama. You know, I'm about to be the mama. Like,
let me tell you something. That shit doesn't stop because you have a kid.
well, that's true. That's true.
Rash. Oh, the fever. Oh, like, it's like all those first things, despite what the doctors say and your mom friends, like, it's always, I don't know, mom feels like home, right? For a lot of us. So, and you know, so yeah, that that shit just doesn't stop. I definitely do understand, like, the finding different ways to, like, I guess, either be more independent or potentially dependent on others because you know that they won't be around forever. But I kind of think that's part of the sweet part. Like, you know, they won't be here forever. So, you know, give them that extra call, or like, you know, of course I can make lunch myself, but why would I do that when you're here? Right. Not like that, but like, but at the end of the day, my mom loves that, you know, like she loves for us to, no matter how much stuff she talks about, us coming over to her house to eat and stuff, you know? So I think just kind of like utilizing them in that way while they're here, in the ways that they love, you know, like, is even with the kid, because yeah.
No, don't be confused. My mother will still be the first call, because, ma'am, you're the big mama. Like, I got to know. I got to know.
Yeah,
is this shit normal? Am I crazy? You know, like, I'm all of that. But I think it's just crazy to think about the way that my mom is to me, I'm going to be to somebody else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that I'm like, holy shit, that's a hell of a responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I saw this one, like these memes going around that's like, your kid is like like calling you or like being like, "Mommy, I need this," or "Mommy, what's this?" And you're like, "I'm just a teen mom," right? You're asking me all these questions. Me whole time. I'm about to be 32. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. 32 is a new 13 as far as I'm concerned.
I'm just a kid. What do you want from me?
Like, girl, I just got used to raising you. Like, let's be for real. Don't know. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm half kidding. Like, obviously, I definitely know how to answer questions and do things. But, like, yeah, it is crazy. It definitely is. And I don't know. Me personally, sometimes I still be having that realization. I mean, Manny literally just the other day was like, sometimes I'm just like, this is our real life. Like, we have her here, and and she's with us, and we're raising her, and it's just like, I think this realization comes a lot around the time that her birthday comes, because it's just like, 4 years ago around this time, like we're just anticipating, and you are still literally actually here, right? And we're doing it, and it's just wow. So I don't know, still wow factor.
Yeah, that awe is kind of part of the point, I think. Yeah. A question I've been thinking about a lot and just like sitting with, and I have very little answers to this, but is whom do I need to become to be the parent that I intend to be? And trying to from that kind of spiritual heart emotional standpoint, when I'm thinking about preconception, really sitting in that question of like, who is it that I need to become? And to be honest with you, I just this is just coming to me now talking about this shit, because I haven't had no answers about this, right? But I do feel like the universe is actively putting me in situations for that shit to happen, and it's kind of pissing me off, like, because I don't understand why it gotta be so difficult. Can't you give me the lesson soft?
I know, right? Bitch, write the lesson down, right? I don't need to go through it like that. Yeah.
Put that in a book, goddamn it.
Yeah. I want to say that like, you're asking the right questions. Obviously, I don't have all the answers, but like it's not like an arrival. You just continue to become, especially when the kid gets there. And this is like, for me personally, like, she comes and I'm working toward all these things that I think I need to do and become in order to make sure I'm the best for her, and I'm raising like the best for her. But then I start to realize that there's certain things that she needs that I don't have the skills for, right? So now I need to, and Mr. Chaz says, you can't teach a skill you don't have, and he's not lying. So now I need to make a choice. Either I need to learn this new skill, or I need to find somebody who knows it, who can help, right?
Yeah.
And so that's part of like, what I'm learning there, but also like, they gonna show you what they need in one way or another, through the actions, through the words, and different things that they do. So it's like, and then you're like, oh, now I see who I need to become. And that's just for me in this phase, particularly like, oh, she's about to be 4, and this is like, I'm realizing certain sensory needs that she needs, right? Shit I didn't know nothing about, really. And now I'm trying to learn all that I can about it, right? To see that, like, okay, like, what is it that she needs now? Who do I need to become in this space for? Because who I was when she was a baby was completely different. And who I might need to be when she's a teenager might be completely different. So I feel like it's always going to be this, who do I now need to be, to serve, the kid, myself, my relationship, right? So yeah. But I think it's a great question. It's a great question to ask.
I often think about my mom. I think part of the reason I've been asking this question is because of my mother. She says this thing all the time, that it's like, I can't even remember the actual wording that she uses in this moment, but like essentially that your kids are a mirror, right? Like they are watching everything you are. And that is who is creating their body, their brain, their heart, the way that they interact with the world is who you are, not necessarily what you say, right? And I think that is where I keep coming with this, right? Is like, who am I? I mean, there's a lot of great things, lots of great materials to start with, right?
Yes.
And also, I feel like I'm being made aware through the universe, through, circumstances happening in my life, where I'm like, oh shit, I don't necessarily want to show my kid that part, right? Like an example I'll use, and I know I told you this in a personal conversation, but Mars and I had a pretty good fight, and it wasn't like a fight, but just a disagreement. And we don't argue very often. All this context is for the listeners because I know you know this. But we don't argue very often. But we had a pretty intense one because it was a conversation that was hitting on traumas on both of our ends. And when traumas get hit, goddamn, blinders. You just lose like where you're going. And I recognized some emotional patterns in me and some like response patterns in myself that I was like, fuck, like this is not who I want to be as a human being in the world, right? But also, it damn sure ain't something I want to teach my kid. And then I could also track that behavior back generations, right? Yeah. And I'm like, herein lies the
This is so crazy. This is some shit I've been stewing with for a hot minute. So yeah, this is really crazy.
I mean, herein lies the thing. It's like you are the generational curses. Here are the curses that we're to break, right? And the biggest ones, the most impactful ones, are the ones that are sitting in the back of our psyche and come up when we're triggered, when we're hurt, when we don't feel heard, when all of that. And I'm like, when I think about emotional regulation is not my strongest suit. It is not a thing that I would get an A+ on the internal report card on, right? But it is something that I've come through a journey on, for sure. I'm not gonna say I was where I was before, but I'm still not. I was recognizing in that moment I'm still not where I want to be, right? Like to be able to what I would feel like successfully really break that curse with my kid. And also recognizing that a lot of this happens in real time,
Yes.
But it's like the awareness. I think the part that I'm realizing is like, what are the things that I want to be aware of? I don't have to be perfect at it. I don't have to have it fixed. I don't have to be healed in this moment. But what do I want to be aware of? Patterns in myself, so that when I get there and I'm looking at my kid and I'm having a blindfolded moment because I've been hit with a trigger, that I can at least have that little voice in the back of my head being like, hey, maybe there's a different choice that can be made here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Because this is something I've really been thinking about a lot as far as the generational curse thing. And it's like there's certain things I could see in myself, that I've seen in different generations. And I just be like, sometimes I don't know if I'm strong enough to break that curse. I don't know if I can do it in this lifetime. Like I've really been struggling with that because like, what does that say about me as a person, as a parent, if I can't do it? If I pass this on to her? And I haven't really gotten to the answer there. But what I know for sure is that one of the biggest lessons that I have learned, two of them, one is the mirror thing, already with certain things. And I just be like, damn, some things are really great, and so I don't even, she said something earlier. I was like, damn, I must really say that a lot. You know what I mean? Like, because why are you saying that? Right? So yeah, it just really took me aback. But yeah, And it wasn't bad, but it was just like surprising. But it just like continues to be a reminder that I'm constantly being watched and monitored and copied, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then this person doesn't even have all the context and like all the shit that comes with it, which is great. But then the second thing that I feel like one of the biggest lessons I've learned so far is that course correction is possible, it is necessary, and it does not have to happen immediately in order to be effective, which has helped me calm the fuck down a bit. Because it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I did that thing again, right, in front of her or to her, God forbid. But like, it happens, and then I'm like, I just feel shitty about it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, but I can say something to her. I can say like, I'm sorry that I raised my voice at you, right? I'm sorry I yelled. Nobody is supposed to yell at you, right? But sometimes people get really upset, or people, lose their temper and kind of forget. And so that's why I'm coming to apologize, right? So that she knows, one, this is how it's supposed to be if somebody fucks up. This is how I'm supposed to feel, right?
That part.
And this is what I'm supposed to do if, if I fuck up, right? If I hurt somebody. So, and there's a bunch of different types of course correction. I mean, because we're learning, I'm learning so much as a parent, so is Manny. And then there's just certain things like that we disagree on, but then like turns out I was right or he was right. And we got to be like, okay, yeah, like let's do that thing that you said. Now that we see that other thing didn't work, you know what I mean? So there's just so many like, and mind you, you got two people working with trauma trying to break those curses at the same fucking time in real time, right? On one person. So it's like, it's just a lot of things. And yeah, so the questions are great. The questions are great. Keep asking them, even after you become a parent. But as far as the answers, so I mean, you said this, and my therapist both told me, like, I feel like you're parenting through your trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're trying to make sure she's not dealing with the same shit you dealt with, but she's literally not, right? So you're just protecting her from shit that doesn't actually exist, right? So it's like, oh, damn, you know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about like, right? It's like, literally, you told me days later. I was like, I just heard this shit. I don't want to hear it again. Like, and it's just like, but that's necessary information, right? To be like, okay, like, I'm fighting so hard to make sure that I'm not passing down like generational curses that, like, I'm fighting all these battles for her that are existing in me, right? So it's like, so it's definitely a lot, and I hear you for sure.
I think there's a way that, and it's so funny, it's just in us having this conversation that this is kind of coming together for me. But for y'all who don't know, I don't even know what you would call it. I almost wanted to say recovering, but I wouldn't say that. Like, I'm actually will say I'm a returning woo-woo girly. I spent the vast majority of my 20s being a very intense and diligent spiritual seeker, being a yoga teacher, doing the ayahuasca, doing the mushroom trips, like, doing all the things. If you want to hear about those stories, I have a previous podcast that I talk a lot about it. I'll put in the description box. But I think that I think that what disrupted it for me was like grief and going through a period of just being like, God, what? God, who? Like, this, just like having some really intense like questioning of these things. And I think I'm slowly making my way back into the newest version of that for myself. Mm-hmm. And so I give all that preamble to say that I think that what I'm sitting with is that I had this idea that I was going to be asking these preconception questions to myself, like being like, okay, this is something you got to figure out, right? Like, you got to very much Capricorning it. And I think that what I'm realizing is actually I was adding it to the to-do list of the universe, because I swear to God, in the last month, which is some shit, and I would have been a little bit more intentional about how the fuck I asked these questions. But I think that, like, really what is actively happening is I am being put in situations that are requiring me to be attentive to or aware of things that needs to be highlighted, good and bad,
Yeah.
right? And I think that like that's something that I'm really kind of sitting with, is like it's less about me having an answer, right? And more about bringing that awareness to my day-to-day life and my conflicts and the way that I am showing up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is truly amazing. I think it's a blessing. And sometimes that shit sucks.
My God.
My God, on today. Yeah. Yeah. It does definitely suck sometimes, but I definitely do think it's a blessing, because I mean, awareness continues to reveal things to us so that we can continue to grow,
Yeah.
And damn, don't it feel good to look back and be like, I did that,
Yeah.
and not like, like check mark lists, I've like healed this thing, but like, this is where I used to be with that thing, and now I'm here, right? And at some point I didn't really see how I might be able to get there, if it
Yeah.
was possible,
Yeah.
so that nudge from the universe, you know I want to say thank you, but I'm really concerned at this point that I'm asking for something that I don't want. I really don't want. I want to grow later on in the year. Right now, I'm doing fine. So yeah, but
It's the way that we be clutching our booty holes when we
because
like be talking about the universe.
I know not to fuck around. I absolutely know. I've been manifesting things for several months now, and I believe that they're coming. They're coming, and it's nice. And I just am gonna mind my fucking business. That's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say on that.
Oh shit. Is there any one thing that you're like, damn, I really do wish I had done this, become this, walked through this before becoming a mom?
I wish I would have built that ass. I really do. Because let me tell you something. And I mean, at this point, I mean, I don't know. This might only be my second time talking about it, but y'all gonna hear about it. If you don't like it, skip. I don't know. But I've wanted to ask my whole life. And this is about that, but it's also about the fact that me building muscle in my ass, in my glutes, or sorry, it's the same place, but y'all get the point, and my thighs would have helped me. It would have gone a long way. Now seeing like the things that I've had to deal with during pregnancy and after the fact, and then realizing that some of this stuff was actually predating me getting pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, like there's certain things like with my IT band that was already fucked up that I didn't realize. Because of that, like when the relaxing comes and then like makes everything real chill, my pelvic area, not my pelvic floor, which is also an issue, but like the actual bones
Yeah.
now have a harder time adjusting, right? And then readjusting back because the IT band was already fucked up, right? And I'm not saying muscle would have healed everything, but having that extra,
Support.
like exactly. And if I had glute muscles, they would have supported my pelvic floor more. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't have issues now, but I just don't think it would have been as exacerbated.
Yeah.
So that, I definitely think, would have been something that I would do. Number one thing for sure. And then, I would have had the ass. I mean, it's just a win-win completely. So, but
I'm very grateful that the glutes and the strengthening in the glutes is such a big marker of health, because it makes the vanity, like, it gives the vanity some purpose, right? You're like, well, I want a fat ass because I want to stop traffic, but also this fat ass is going to protect my life, like
it does protect. It protects against a lot of things. And then building this muscle as well helps with glucose intake,
yes.
helps to prevent from things like pre-diabetes and actual diabetes, and the way that fats move through your body, right? So all of that definitely like is connected. It's connected to so many different things. It's connected to you, how well you sleep, building this muscle. So, and I'm not saying that like people with a lot of muscle mass don't have insomnia, right? I'm just saying that it helps to support your body becoming, in its optimal health. So that's, definitely a thing. And I don't care about the vanity. I absolutely want to stop traffic. I want to stop my own fucking traffic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I want to walk past a mirror and be so surprised. That's my shit. And it's gonna feel so sweet because I had to work for it, unfortunately. But yeah, so that would be, yeah.
That's so goddamn
And you're
funny.
doing that, which is great. Awesome.
The ass is assing. Like it's
Girl, and I'm seeing the shoulders too. I'm seeing the, okay.
ah.
I'm seeing it.
I saw my arms. I did stop my own traffic with my arms
See,
earlier.
there you go. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, muscle will do that. And it's going to protect you against osteoporosis, arthritis, and a bunch of other shit that I cannot recall right now. But, maybe we'll make a post about that. We'll make the post about, the importance of ass, muscles, and others.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a very important topic. So.
Oh shit, that's so funny. Okay.
Posture. Okay, all right, on that.
What is actually extra hilarious about this is because my next line item for what I want us to talk about is such a 360. No,
Oh, what is it?
180.
Okay.
It's grief. It's like, how do we go from ass,
man.
talking about ass, to talk about grief?
I will
But
say
here we
I'm in
go.
grief that I didn't build it beforehand, but otherwise, yes, I'll get serious and really talk about it.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. In our last episode that we recorded, I don't know if it's the last one that got shared with y'all. So sorry if it's not. But I had brought up like holding grief in this process, right? And just being like, I quite literally, and this is where you really have to be careful with God and with the universe, because I remembered looking at Mars and being like, I'm not gonna be tripping if like it takes us 6 months to get pregnant. I'm not, it's gonna be fine. Like our life is happy. We're good. We ain't even started trying yet, and the grief is hitting me over the goddamn head. Like so. I think that like that from a preconception standpoint, and I know that I can only speak from it from a queer perspective, but I have also heard people talk about from an infertility perspective, right? Like wanting to have a kid, but your body just not being on the same accord and being able to really do that in the timeline that you're hoping for. For me as a queer person, it's like I got every goddamn hoop and hurdle to jump over and jump over it well before I can make this baby, because we ain't got no sperm. We can't just have a good time, have a good night, and boom, wake up pregnant in a couple of weeks, right? So it is much more of a long haul than I had emotionally and mentally prepared for myself, right? Even before the trying part, right? We haven't even gotten to the insemination. And I am really holding the grief. And so I just wanted to add that into this preconception moment, because I think that for all of us it looks different, right? Like if you have fertility issues, you're straight, you have fertility issues, boom. But fuck, I mean, even if you don't have fertility issues and you're just in active trying, right? And then obviously for my queer baddies, like goddamn.
Yeah.
I think that like that grief piece is not something that I had planned for in preconception. I think knowing now what if I knew then what I knew now, like starting this preconception journey, I think I would have, I don't know if I would, what I would have done differently, but I do think that in this, like going forward, I'm just kind of like allowing myself to be in the feelings of it, right? And like also recognizing and trusting that like spirit, universe, I believe in spirit babies. Like I believe that my child is like hovering around me, hovering around my spouse. Like I believe that this soul is orchestrating its own return onto this planet. And so I think there's a way that I really just have to be in active trust of that, even through feeling the grief, like feeling like, damn, like when is this going to happen for me? But I think that that's the piece that I'm like holding around the grief right now, in that.
I hear you. A lot of things that I have felt about like pregnancy and parenting, I have been for me metaphors of like life, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the the grief, the patience, the you know, just sitting with feelings, the unknowns, you know, trying to prepare in this case like our bodies before or our minds before. But you know, in my case, preparing a human for, you know, really entering the world on their own. Like all of this is literally like, you know, metaphors for things that we need throughout life. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. So I don't know. I always think it's interesting because it's like it really could be applied to parenting, but at the end of the day, this is like, oh, this is something that will help us grow,
Yeah.
you know, as individuals, um, regardless of parenting. But because of it, it feels even more intense. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
but I definitely hear you on the grief and how, I mean, it sounds like it just be really frustrating, you know, at times.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. So I get that. And sitting with feelings is, it's not the most fun thing in the world. However, you know, again, who knows who you're going to be on the other side, you know,
Right.
when you
Right.
really got through those feelings.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And having enough patience to be like, I can sit with this,
Yeah.
and enough capacity.
Yeah. And also sometimes being okay if you ain't got it that day, you know, like it's not this perfect thing that you have to be able to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Definitely. 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 Whew. Okay. Let's let's move our way out of the heart and self conversation of it. The other part of this conversation that I wanted to have is about relationships. And I think that that piece is my most unexpected joy part of
mm-hmm,
this process of like, because I think that like one, there's pros and cons, right, of being a queer parent and having to conceive the way that we have to conceive. One, there's no oops.
mm-hmm,
There is no, oh damn, I took a pregnancy test, had no idea that this was going to happen. So that allows for a whole lot of preparation, which both can be good and bad, but it also, in my case, has allowed for a lot of conversations, right?
mm-hmm.
And we have gotten to be able to share with our beloveds that, like, this is what we're doing. And I keep joking with everybody. I'm like, we are making an executive decision that we all are having a baby, right? Like this is our community child. And because I have a very strong constitution that like two people should not be solely responsible for a human being. Like that is not how we evolutionarily like had children, right? And like as black folks, not that long ago, right? Like,
Yeah.
and some black folks, they still aren't in
Mm-hmm.
that kind of orientation towards the things. I think that what I have been super excited about was this active building of the village, because the nuclear family system is a scam. It's a fucking scam. But I'm curious. I know that there's a lot to be had in this conversation, but I'm curious in what ways, like in hindsight, in what ways and what conversations do you wish that you had had prior to?
You know, it's hard to say. I was a completely different person. Well, not completely, you know, but there's a lot of differences, I think, in the way that I was thinking about how parenting would be versus what it actually is. And the needs that I would really have, you know,
Yeah.
and that Manny would have. So it's really, I don't feel like I can like honestly answer that, but you know, I think one conversation that I would have had would have been with Manny to be like, what money do we need to put away in order to have the support that we need? Because we, it doesn't look like we're going to get it in the way that we want or need for our family. So I definitely would have done that, and maybe waited if we could have. I mean, we know how that went, but yeah, in order to build that nest.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved to at least have, you know, like a, if not a stay-in nanny, somebody that comes like 3 or 4 times a week, you know, and that alone would have relieved a shit ton of like, you know, pressure.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then definitely somebody to help with clothes, which some nannies do. So, you know, but yeah, so that,
Help with
I think that's,
clothes?
uh-huh.
Like clothing?
Yeah, washing them, putting them away.
Oh. Got it.
Because that's like probably the top thing that I'm like terrible at when it comes to chores. So yeah, but it, you know, like that conversation between me and him would have been imperative. Yeah, and then I want to say certain friends, like having conversations with them, but to be honest, like I think at that point I was so set on like I have my friends, like I don't need any more friends. Like I was very much in that mindset. I've had these friends for years. Um, Jokes on me because most of them don't live here. So what is that actually going to do for me
Right.
there? Right. And then like my best friend was also having a baby at the time. So it's not like we're going to be able to support each other in the ways that we could have if one of us didn't have a kid. You know
Right.
what I mean? So yeah. And then another friend, I mean, she has moved back recently, but she wasn't here then. So like, you know, thank God she has moved back. But so, and there were certain things that we did, you know, agree on for like postpartum help, you know, and we got like our mothers to do certain specific tasks for those things, family to like cook meals so that we would have them immediately after our mothers, you know, we got them to sign up to stay like 1 week at a time. But that's pretty much that. I mean, as far as like conversations and like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I I think on my end,
But I got your ass to maybe try to move down here. Could have maybe gone back and tried that. Would it have
yikes.
worked? Probably not, but I could have tried.
You could have tried. I think too, it's like, but I think, I don't know. I think the way that could have happened though is it being like, yo, what role do you want to have? You know? I think that that's like the question. Because I mean, to be fully frank with you, that is something that I have had to learn or grow into as Oakley has gotten older, right? And as her
Mm.
and I's relationship has developed. Like, I wasn't thinking about that shit when you got pregnant. You know, like I wasn't even in that mindset
Mm-hmm.
to be thinking about that. Not from a place of not wanting to, just from a space of like, I ain't got no goddamn kids. You know, like and you're one of the first people to have some goddamn kids, you know? And so I haven't had that experience. So I think that those are like kind of the conversations that we're having right now. And they've
Mm-hmm.
happened really organically. But me reiterating, like, hey, this is our baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is our kid. Just so
So you
that
can
y'all are
keep it in
clear.
that subconscious, right?
This is our kid, y'all. But like also just being like, you know, having, I feel like with being in that like having those conversations and just being like, I recognize that having a kid means a village, right? And having those conversations with my friends, with my close friends, like not every friend, but the close ones,
Yeah.
and specifically the ones that are in proximity to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I know one of my really close friends, Kaylin, who we have been friends since we were literally 3 years old. Like we live 6 minutes away from each other. And her and I have done some really explicit work in being like, how do we be a good village to each other? You know, like how do we, what does that look like? We had a specific conversation where we were like, here's what I can bring, right? Here's what I have capacity for, it was, for me, it was like, I can always cook a meal. I can always drop some food off. I can, if you need body doubling on certain things, like you're like, I just don't have it in me to do this by myself. I can be there to do that, right? Like I can always be on some dog care. And that's something I really need, like so just like really having that conversation, I feel like was so lovely because it was like it didn't leave anything up to chance, right? Like she could look at me and be like, hey, this is what I can offer. These are the things that like I'm always down to support you with. And I could do that same thing, right? And like I had recently a conversation with my good friend Jordan, who has been just thinking about this on her own terms and just being like, she's like, I don't think I want to have kids, at least not right now, but I am excited to be part of the village. And here is the ways that I'm excited to do that, right? She's like, she went to like a high tea in Scotland when she was traveling recently. And she was like,
amazing.
I want to be the rich auntie that's like, let me give you some culture, like pick up the kid, take them on an adventure and explore and show them new things and things like that. And it's just like, I think that those conversations have been super exciting to be like, this is what this could look like. And this is what the people that I love have capacity for this new being that I'm creating. And also recognizing that I'm like, their influences I want to be wide. I want our kid to have wide influences and to see the variety of how to be human. And one of the ways that is best to do that is to expose them to different types of people and different ways of being. And also one thing that my mom has always said, that she's like, the most critical thing is for your kid to know that they're loved by as many people as possible, right? And like, I feel like I got that benefit of that philosophy because my mom, especially as a single mom, was like, listen, one, I need motherfucking support. Like, all you niggas.
Hello.
And I think that like I've got that benefit. Like obviously it wasn't always perfect, my grandmother, I learned how to cuss real quick, because I was here, my grandma be cuss like a motherfucking sailor, and just, I was repeating shit out of her mouth. Obviously it wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always, probably exactly how my mom wanted it to look, but she had enough trust in her community to be like, you know what? we gonna roll with it. We gonna rock with it. And I think that like, from a preconception standpoint, I'm like having those conversations. I think I realized how important that was in watching watching your experience in becoming a parent, right? Like I think that there's a lot of ways I know I keep bringing up my mom, but like my mom says that my aunt, who is her older sister, was her blueprint for parenting, right? And I think I look at you in a lot of ways that like watching you and being so intimate in that process is a similar thing, right? There's so many ways that I can look at your experience and be like, okay, I see that this was a blind spot. Let me go ahead and not be blind, or there's this thing that Chanel does that I would never even think of that I absolutely want to incorporate. And that village piece was something I was like, I'm going to have to go ahead and start that now.
That's really important for sure. So I'm glad that you took heed.
I will say, when we told the moms this weekend, I made a very clear announcement. Y'all, I didn't say it like this, but I'm saying it to y'all like this. Y'all niggas need to show up. Like, I will be needing support. And I said it because my mom and like my aunt, they're the most generous people I know. And they were like, financially, if y'all need support, like we can help as much as that we can. Right. And I was like, I appreciate that. But what I really need is that childcare. That's what I need.
Seriously.
And I need y'all to know that now, that I need childcare.
Yeah. So retire, damn it.
Right. And then it was funny because like my mom hadn't even known this, but like because we were always talking about kids. She's been wanting to be a grandmother for a very long time. And she makes it quite known And it comes up in conversation all the time, right?
Regularly,
And
yeah.
so even before we told her, we were having this whole conversation because I was like, because we were talking about the cost of childcare. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about you. That's actually what we were talking about. Because she had asked about Oakley in school, and I was just like telling her, like, you know,
she had a whole conversation with me
did she?
last year about this.
Listen.
I don't think we talked about that, but go ahead. Yeah.
She gonna keep asking. I already know it. I already know it. But we were talking about Oakley in school, and I was like, the truth of the matter is, it's expensive. Like, when you have a particular standard for how you're willing for your child to be educated and care, but then the economy looks like this, what the fuck are you supposed to do? So we were kind of having that conversation, and then obviously she was talking about her putting me in private school and how that was expensive, but then how things have changed. And I said to her, I was like, that is why I need to have a baby once you retire. Now, she don't plan on retiring anytime soon, so that will not happen. But she was like, you're thinking about this all wrong.
Grandparents need to be retired immediately. That's all I'm saying. As soon as the baby comes, they need to be retired. Like, I'm confused about the way our society is set up. But yeah.
Man. Well, she was like, you're thinking about this all wrong, because then I'm gonna be broke. And I'm like, listen, I just
something has to give.
Something has to give.
I don't know what it is. I don't know who got to give, but something or somebody has to give. Childcare is expensive. It absolutely is. And then yes, I mean, yeah. But you also know that I'm very particular about things. Many things. Specifically when it comes to my kids. So it's just woo. And I'll make the drive, you know. Found a far school. I'm like, I'll drive over there. It's just, you know, the price. Incorrect. So
incorrect.
We're working our way up. We're working our way. I mean, it would be nice for sure, because I feel like even 2 times a week, half day, I'm like, that would be amazing. She gets that exposure. I get the time. Boom, bam, bam. And then we could keep doing what we're doing. But yeah, I'm just like, look, these prices. I got so many things I want to do too. It's just crazy. So, but yeah, she did last year. Was like, when are you gonna put her in school? And then basically that conversation was about like 20, 30 minutes, but it ended in, it's time. Basically, she was so sweet about it too.
That's so funny. This is a tangent, but I was watching this video earlier. It was Keke Palmer and Ella May, and Keke Palmer was asking about different signs, like what Ella May thought what sign would answer what question.
And she hates Libras. Keke Palmer hates Libras. That's what it sounded like to me, because I think I saw that video. Everything was Libra. I was like, God damn.
And then she was just mostly talking about how they're so indecisive, you know? Like,
yes. Yeah.
I mean, yes, both of us are married, so we know it very well. But she was saying, like, one of the questions was like, what sign will give you advice you really need to hear, but in a way that is like kind of sweetly? And the response was Virgo. So I was just thinking about.
I didn't see that. I think I watched a clip and it didn't say nothing about Virgos in the clip I saw. Okay. And I was like, this was pointless. But that's
in
nice.
This clip, Virgo's got a whole lot of love.
Yeah, a whole lot of love. That's really nice that she would say that, because yeah, sometimes people say that we like are harsh. I don't know.
I think it depends on who it is, who is taking the feedback.
Yeah, because like if you think honesty is harsh, that's a little bit different. Right. But yeah, we don't try to hurt people's feelings with people that we love, and we're just trying to tell the truth and actually stew on it quite a bit to try to make sure that it's not, you know, that it lands the softest.
And I feel like, let me say this. I feel like an evolved Virgo, that is true for. That there is a lot of softness. It's going to be clear and it's going to be truthful. Like, you're not going to get no bullshit. But it will be also not delivered in a way that's disrespectful. Now, I do think a quote-unquote lesser evolved, and I'm hella on the quote-unquote, evolved Virgo is it might cut a little bit coming down,
I
you know.
agree. Yeah, I
So
do. But yeah, I mean, when she said it, it wasn't rude or anything like that. Like she was just like, it's
because she
fine.
really can, she can really go there with like being a lot really soft. She can do both ways.
But also, I know like what her intention was. You know what I mean? I know that she really cared. I know she cares about Oakley, and she was concerned about like the peer to peer kind of, you know, aspect and that kind of thing. So yeah, I know that she was really coming from a place of like love and trying to be like, I think this is the right choice, right? Because another thing about a Virgo is they're gonna be right about what it is they're talking about. They've already thought about it. They know it's accurate, right? Whether or not that's the truth, but yes. So yeah, she was like, I've already thought about this. Like, you just need to understand.
You need to get on the right
So,
page with it.
right. And also for context, because we probably have mentioned this before, but me and her mother actually have the same birthday. So like
Yes.
August Virgos, same day. Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
that's the
Chanel
funny
has
part.
my mom's name in her
Yeah.
name and all of
Yeah.
that. The coreless part in her email, in her Instagram, that's my mama.
Yeah.
Um, yes. Okay, so last thing on the preconception front, and then we can wrap this bitch up. And obviously, this is gonna only concern people who are having a baby in the context of a relationship, right? Um, so this is very specific to them because if you're a single parent by choice, hey, like kind of, I mean, that's kind of let that for you because you ain't got to talk to nobody about nothing, you know. I mean, at least not the the other parent piece. But what are some ways that you wish that you had prepared your marriage for the chaos monster that is a child?
Oh, it's crazy because I had a friend ask me this. Um, and girl, I sent her a whole rundown,
A
several voice
dissertation.
messages. I was like, point A, B, C, D, write this down, save these, you know, because she's
Well, send
married
it to
and she's
me.
worrying about it. If I think I did save them, so I was like, somebody else is gonna need this shit. So I'm gonna scroll back up. I knew then. I was like, somebody's going to need this.
And put it on Substack because go ahead and make that a whole thing.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't remember everything that I said, but what I will say is conversations. What were we talking about in our marriage episode? Marriage is intentional. It needs to be intentional. You cannot just, I mean, you perhaps could before the kid just mosey on down, you know, marriage lane, going to, going to the movies or going to whatever, do whatever the fuck you want to do, whenever the fuck you want to do it, yada, yada. That's gonna be much harder, right? So just planning for things, making sure that it's not like back here, you know. Um, so what does it look like to maybe have a date night once a month, right? Every other month, even like it doesn't have to be, and that might sound like too long for some people. For us, that's just what it has to be. But like, some low stakes stuff, you know what I mean? That makes sure you guys are connecting. Date night could be in the house playing puzzles. We did that once and that was cool. We have not revisited that puzzle since. I'm thinking about it, but we should, you know. But that was really nice. Like we talked to each other because a lot of times we'll sit and watch TV and it's like we're not talking.
Yeah.
Sometimes we both the energy is there. We both don't want to talk. We want to be around each other. We don't want to have conversations about important shit. We just want to be right, and that happens actually quite a bit. Okay, but one of those times, let's do some puzzles, right? Let's do something. So I just think planning for how you're going to make sure you have intentional interactions with one another, very important, weekly, monthly, whatever. And then planning for how you're going to stay on top of your finances in the thick of the postpartum period. Because the first experience that was really intense, and from the research I've done, it's actually common for couples to fall off after they have a baby. So knowing that, how could you what would the setup look like for you? Does that look like getting a financial advisor? Does that look like somebody in your family's an accountant who can remind you need to do X, Y, and Z that you trust certain times? Does that mean y'all have monthly, quarterly conversations about finances? If that's what you could give, right? Whatever that looks like for you. I think those are the top two that I would, because the thing that they say, keep dating. I think People say it for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all are changing and in real time, so rapidly. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, I don't know, it's cool. Like the change is, I'm very proud of who I've become because I'm a mom. And I'm also really proud of who my husband has become because he's a dad. Um, but you know, you don't want to become separate. So yeah.
Yeah, that part. That part. I feel like certain things that I'm thinking about in this era is like just some conversations about like parenting styles
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
what your hopes are as parents, what your intentions are going into being a parent.
But
Like,
that's not your marriage though.
right, right. But I
But
think
I'm
that
only
like,
saying that because of how easy it becomes to conflate the two. And
mhm,
yes, parenting does affect the marriage, absolutely,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
and vice versa. But that's, I just want to put that caveat because
good
it
point.
does become, quite easy to just be like, well, we had conversations today and they were all about the kid, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's real.
not to
That's
cut you
very real. Yeah. Well, conversations about the kid that should happen before.
off. Oh the kid.
Yeah, I mean, just like I
Okay.
mean, but just parent in general, your marriage and the kid. Because I'm like,
Okay. Well, yeah. That's different. I could say that, but you can go ahead.
yes, no, I think that like on that front is like, well, okay, hold on, let me go back to the marriage piece. One thing that I'm thinking about is like Mars and I have had a conversation, and I know that this is more a grounding point than a hard fast rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is that our marriage comes first,
Mm.
which again could be very controversial. But I have been thinking that a lot about this because I'm just like, the kid is going to be taken care of. At least in my household. Other
Yeah.
people, I don't know what y'all do. But over here, over here, the kid is obviously going to be a massive center point in our life.
Mm.
Like, I mean, especially when they're younger, they can't do shit. But I think that part of it is like, I want for Mars and I, and we've talked a lot about this, is like going into it, instead of having a child first, having a marriage first.
Yeah.
Because I think that the child is always going to be a given. And the marriage won't necessarily always be the given priority in the
Mm.
conversation. And so that is the orientation that we are finding going into this conversation. That's the orientation that we're having towards it. Because one of the biggest joys of my life is the connection that I have with my spouse.
Yeah.
And it was the fear that I had going into this process was like, am I going to lose that? And I think at this point I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it'll change, right? Like it's just going to change. And also it has to be it has to be intentional. We have to be intentional about nurturing that connection. Um and I think that that's the way that in this moment, which will also probably change once the kid gets here, is to put our marriage first and to maybe
Mm-hmm.
create some non-negotiables around that too. Like around date night is like, okay, after we do our 42-day lay-in,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's when we get on our frequency for date nights, and make those a no kid conversation space
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. But just going into it having some guardrails so that we don't lose us. Like I would
Yeah.
love once we get a little bit older to be like, and finances allow, we take one trip a year that's just the two
Mm-hmm.
of us, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Send
Yeah. I
them
see what you're
motherfuckers to
saying.
their grandparents and keep it
Because
pushing.
they want to go anyway.
Right.
Yeah. And I would encourage you to say like nice to haves until you kind of, because I just don't want it to feel so like we got to do this. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
it feels like you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
Because I know with list people, it's like this is a part of the list, a part of the plan, right? And we're not doing
Right.
that part of the plan, and I don't want that to be an internal issue, and that's the only reason I'm saying that. And then once you're like in the groove, this is our standard, right? Like
Yeah.
this nice to have is now our rule or whatever kind of thing, just to like relieve a little pressure,
I
if
feel
it
like for
feels.
me, I think there actually, I think that part of why I say that our marriage comes first is because there needs to be pressure on that. I think
No,
that
not
that's
that.
actually how I'm seeing that. No, even like the date nights and things like that. I'm like,
Okay.
I feel like it needs pressure. Like I think, and not like a scary pressure, right? But I think it
Yeah.
needs that kind of urgency. It's
So
kind of
that you
where
make sure that it's still where it needs to be.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I
Yeah.
think that that's where I'm coming from it
Mm-hmm.
from that standpoint.
Yeah. I get that for sure.
And again, shit
Um,
will change, right? Shit will
I
change.
mean, I don't know. It could not, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys will find out. But regardless, it's definitely important to have these conversations. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, because it orients kind of the decision making around everything else that you do. So, yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. I think that I've heard
yeah.
people talk about like family values, like what are your family values? What are the things
Mm-hmm.
that are critical, right? And I think that it could be construed as this is like this tight thing that you have to do, but I think also there is something about being intentional, right? When you are intentional and you have a scaffold for how you want to be in the world, it doesn't mean that you're perfect at that. No one's asking for perfection, but it does have you always a place to steer back towards or a
Exactly.
direction when you don't know where you're supposed to be going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with that for sure. My therapist has said many times that I need to put my marriage first. I'm like, lady, get off my jock. So, but well, yeah, I don't know. For me, I definitely do. I just see it a little bit differently. But I hear what you're saying. I like what you're saying. You know, because like the kid is going to be a given, so why not? But I don't know what that looks like. So yeah, and then I take issue with because she's like, you need to put your husband first, and then the kid. I'm like, where does me come in? Because I feel like we're
Right.
missing a very important piece
Right.
here.
Yeah.
And so like in general, now I have concern about what you're telling me, right? So yeah, I don't know, and I just feel like I'm in this mode personally where I'm just like, I got to focus on me, right? Like I have to like, and so maybe that's why.
But okay, can we challenge this a little bit? Can we dig into this? Because I think in order to have a healthy marriage, that means that you have to be healthy on an individual level, right?
Well,
Like I
yeah.
think part of me is like, is it so black and white that it's like I don't like how she put him first, and then I just don't.
I don't know if it's just
Something
if
about
it's just a
that.
man thing. I don't know what it is, right? But it's just like
It's
we're confused. I'm
it's
confused.
something about that particular wording of the thing that's really not sitting with my spirit. But I think that like inevitably, because I know for at least how Mars and I think about our marriage, it is like there's Mars, there's me, and there's us, right?
Right,
But
right,
all
right.
of that is our marriage,
It's
right?
like the
Exactly.
well,
And
people
I
can't
think
see what I'm doing, but it's like
right.
one line, right?
Yes.
It's not like one is over the other. They're all kind of the same because both people as individuals have to be able to show up to the best of their abilities at that point in order to make that unit be what it is on that level. So
Exactly. Exactly. And I also think that too, it's like I oftentimes think about my mom saying this to me when I was younger, like, which is a hell of a thing to say to your kid. But before I was your mom, I was a woman, right? And I think that that's the piece. It's like even like let's put marriage aside. I was a romantic woman in this relationship, right?
mhm.
And that was me bringing all of my juiciness to this thing. That's why this shit worked. That's why we created
Right,
this human. That's why we built
right,
this life. It's all built off of my shit, and
right.
their shit and us coming together. And I think that there is that place. It's like rather than something I'm really sitting with is like, I don't want, even though, yes, capitalism is a part of my marriage, right? Because we have bills and we have shared bills and we have this, that, and the third. My marriage isn't a business. it is two people who fell in love, and it that foundation of the romance, the connection, the friendship is the actual foundation of our life, not the finances, right? And so I think that there's this way that I'm like, I can't do all of those things if I'm not feeling good, feeling sexy, feeling healthy, all of those things.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You know, we might have to talk about this another time. I think about it a bit because I still feel a little bit differently, you know. But I mean, I hear you and I see it, but I was doing those things when I wasn't feeling all the way myself. So I can do it, but I don't want to anymore. Like I want to be me, separate from the kid, separate from the husband, right? And it took me a long time to get to this point because truly, you know, we talk about like babies not seeing themselves outside of their parents. They see themselves as like both of us as one.
Right.
I feel like I acted in that way, right? We are we are one unit, right? And that's the way that like my brain, my body had acted, you know, for a long time. And that's fine, but it's not serving me anymore. And so now I feel like I'm like on the other end of like, okay, well, what do I need? But also it is still kind of like not about them, but like they do inform the decisions because how am I to raise a kid who become an adult who knows how to take care of their body, knows boundaries to set with other people and their bodies, you know, has a strong mind and a strong body. If I'm not doing that for myself, if she's not also watching me, because it's not just I'm gonna take her to swim class and I'm gonna tell her that she should eat her veggies and she eats them and that's cool. But if she does not see me do that, it will not be ingrained, right? And so that was really like kind of going back to that conversation in the beginning, like who do I need to become to make sure that this human is going to be all that she can be? Well, I gotta walk more of that walk, right? Because I can talk quite a bit, quite well. But like, you know, at the end of the day, most of the shit that I see her do is stuff that she saw us do or somebody. We went to my niece's graduation yesterday. Guess what she did when we came back home? Play graduation. It is literally like, you know what I mean? Like it does not take, it takes nothing but one side of something to be like, I want to do this. I'm going to emulate this. So if she's going to emulate something, it's going to be me out there trying to get my fat ass, making sure that I am strong, right? And mind, body, and spirit. But so yeah, I guess, you know, it does have to do with both of them. And then just like, you know, Manny's been pushing me for a long time. You know, you can do these things, right? Like you have this space to do these things. I will do whatever I need to do to make sure you can do these things. And it's always been like, I can't, I got to do this, got to do that, right? For like you, for her, for all that. And yeah, so anyway, I don't know. What I will say is that like, it's a journey for me, but having those conversations beforehand is extremely important, I think. And I'm glad you guys are having them, you know, because that's going to be your blueprint for, you know, what to do when the baby comes. So
yeah, absolutely. Unlearning that self-sacrifice is serious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I don't. And it's just crazy because I never thought that like that. I just knew that wasn't gonna be me.
Right.
Right. And imagine being like that wrong about it. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Shock my damn self. And then like, and again, like I'm not gonna say that I would change anything necessarily. Like, I loved being with her. Like I loved taking care of her, spending time with her, and all that, you know. But I definitely think that like taking an hour or two, even a week, like to do certain things a little bit earlier than you know this now couldn't hurt. So yeah, it's crazy.
I feel like there's something, and I feel like we can talk about this forever, but
clearly.
I'm like, I just feel like there's something to being like, even all this shit is coming to me as we're having this conversation about preconception, but I'm like, what is the safe word? Right? Like I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna need a safe word that is like or that you can give when it's like you are not acting. Your hormones got you fucked up, right? Like they got you on some rigid shit. How can I bring you back to the intention that we set, right? And I think that that's something I'm going to need to work on, and that I would like to have with you is a safe word.
We can have a safe word, absolutely. I just feel like at the end of the day, when you're ready, right?
You
That's
know,
one thing, when you're ready. And sometimes it's just because there's not a way things should be. And I do feel like I had people kind of telling me like this is how you should be doing things. You know, you're doing things a little whatever. And it's like I spent so much time worrying about the fact that like maybe I was doing too much instead of just being like I'm just enjoying my baby, whether that means that I haven't been lotioning myself or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's my business. So like and people didn't know that, but like you know what I mean.
right?
So like, but it doesn't matter what anybody would have said, right? Like I had to be ready. So and you have said things, right? It's not like I want to say people.
Right.
She's very honest with me. She talks about these things. She's told me many times, right? Like, so, well, again, like, got to be ready. And I feel like now I'm ready. And yeah,
I love that you're in this part of the journey, because as a person who loves you, it was hard to watch you at the other part of the journey.
yeah, because
That's
sometimes I was
when,
having emotional, so emotional,
yeah,
crashing the fuck out sometimes. Because yeah, that stuff comes with like other things, you know.
right,
I love my
right,
kids so much that I
right.
barely have time for myself, right? Like that
And
I barely have time for my husband, like right. So like there comes with other stuff,
but I
right?
think
So
that too, it's like not about love, right? Like it's not about love.
some of it is and was other emotions like anxiety
Yeah,
and fear and just not fucking knowing what to do. That's
right,
not emotion. That's just like so right, like and like going through the motions, kind of being stuck in a you know habit, right?
yeah,
But yeah, but I will say a good amount was love, but it gets wrapped up, you know, in other stuff. So
right. I think that the thing is like the extremism of it isn't about love, right? Like you, if you had taken that hour or two a week, you would not have changed your love for your child.
it
Is
wouldn't
what I'm
have.
trying to say.
But doing that fucked me up emotionally. And that's like a whole other thing, right? Why is that happening to you? You
Right.
know what I mean? That like let's like let's talk about that. You know what I mean?
Let's definitely talk
So
about that. And I need an expert, a
oh
neuroscientist,
yeah, Abs-
to go ahead and let us know.
yeah. Did you say a neuroscientist?
I did.
Okay. I mean that yeah. And
Or
or
endocrinologist.
yes. And yeah. Perinatal therapist,
Oh,
postnatal too. We
yeah.
actually need several people to come on to talk about these things. Different. Yeah.
From
But
different
truly,
angles.
I absolutely would love to have experts on and, you know, discuss those things. But yeah,
Yeah.
takes a while, you know, work through things. Took a while for me anyway. But for
100%.
it's different for everyone. So
I'm saying this now and I'm saying it on the record. And I will probably
just
curse myself
know
to
my
say,
face looks like she's about to say some bullshit. Like what are you saying on the record?
you might have to push me to be ready, because I don't want to have to wait. Is my whole
I'm
thing.
not you need to chill, bro. Okay.
There's some
You
things
need to
I think.
relax.
Okay, I think part of
I'm
where
not
this
gonna. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
part of what this comes from me is, as a person with a history of mental illness, I am like, I cannot go too far.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, I
I'm not
think I
gonna
have
let
like a,
you abandon yourself fall off the deep end. I'm
but
not.
I think this is something I have talked to my therapist about.
Bitch, I will literally I will show up at your door. Like you have no idea. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna let that happen. But I'm also not gonna try to force you to do something that your body and mind not might not be ready for.
That's real. And also, give me the safe word so I can at least to try and
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Plant
We
the
had a
seed.
different
Yes.
plan,
Sorry.
you know.
Yeah, we'll
That's
plant
what
the
I'm saying.
seeds.
Yes. And if I start getting off,
Oh, God.
somebody better come get my ass quick.
Keep it tagged. Mars, what's she looking like? Did she lotion
Oh,
herself today?
And on that note, Ken, that was enough. That was enough. See, and this is why we couldn't do all of the preconception in one episode. We've been here for 5 hours.
I truly do hope that this was enjoyable, a bare minimum entertaining, but at max, maybe you learned something. If you haven't gone on a pregnancy journey yet, or if you're still in your preconception journey, I don't know. Or if you've been through it like me and now you're on the other side and looking back at things that could have been done, but hopefully this could be healing in some way or help you feel seen in some way. You know, us talking about wild shit along with preconception. So
yeah. And I'd be curious to know, like, well, if you're in your preconception journey, who do you feel like you need to become, right? Like, who do you feel like you need to become in order to mother, to parent, to father, whatever? And then if you have already gone through that process, what is your reflection back on that? I'd be curious.
Yeah. I want to know also if you are like past the process, like who are you becoming? Right? Like so many reflections.
I love it. I love it. Well, Ken, please subscribe and review this podcast. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Substack at Kinfolk Unscripted. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Ta-ta for now, Ken.
Bye, y'all.